Hello Swoop fans, this is Mahonical Harris with the Extreme Swoop League. I'm going to just be explaining a little bit about the event taking place on May 1st. So, first, understand that the event will be held in the PvP instance of Voss. So you will have to make sure that this right here, you have toggled the PvP focus so that it shows PvP. The event will start at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be in the Voss Cantina, which if you are looking for, it would be in the center of your map. If you use the quick travel option, you would see it right here. I will be posting myself right here, and between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. I will be registering all the racers. Now, how will that look? It will just be you, if you have interest in the race, you come to this cantina, you whisper me, and then I will group invite you, and we'll get you all registered. Registering just will mean I will make sure I have your name written down, have which guild you are representing. If you are representing a guild, you don't have to. And then make sure I have what mount you will be using, and then collect your entry fee. The other thing that I will ask is if you are going to participate in the roleplay parade. This is completely optional. The roleplay parade will be shortly after registration, after 3 p.m. deadline. So the next part of the event would be the parade after I register all the racers. It would be outside the cantina here. Racers will get a little bit more information about it, but this will be the general area, so if any of you who are wanting to see the racers or are planning on placing bets, this would be the area to congregate. Now, around 4:30, the betting would conclude between the end of the parade and a little bit before when the race would begin at 5 p.m. I would be collecting bets, after which I would be heading to Outpost Skyline. This is where I will be getting all the racers organized. I will have, depending on how many racers there are, I will have created a certain number of ops groups for the race to be run. If there has to be more than one ops group, then we will do a system of heats with a certain number of people from each heat advancing to a final heat, which will decide the winner. Now, here is where the starting line for the race will be. I plan on starting the first race, or the first heat if need be, at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These two flags here represent the starting line. So racers will be here. They're allowed to be mounted. They're allowed to not be mounted at the beginning of the race, however they would like, but they have to be behind these two flags. They can't be jumping out ahead or trying to do anything from further ahead. If they're not at the starting line and obeying the rules, they will be disqualified from the race. One question I have gotten, and this is something that you can do, I won't be able to stop you, is say you have a Sith sorcerer. You can do a phase walk, and before the race have set it up so that you're a little bit ahead, but you have to start right here. Any other abilities that would allow you to switch, get a little bit of a head start, but have you starting behind here and then beginning when it says go, are completely lawful. Now, I'm going to go through the race a little bit and tell you some things that I could see being used or coming into play for the race. Now, one thing I will say, I would suggest anyone who is coming and is racing unlock the entire map of Voss. It will make it so that it's easier for you to navigate because you will be crossing a lot of area. It is a cross-planet race. So because you will be going from here's Outpost Skyline through this tunnel into the area of the Dread Seed, through another tunnel into the Nightmare Lands, where you will then go all the way over here, then be going all the way over here, and then from there heading all the way to the Shrine of Healing. Having the map open will make it so that you can, and having it all unlocked will make it so it's easier to follow. Now there are a few points. It's one thing that I have mentioned in the Discord channel, is that there's nothing I can do to stop, say if a guild were to try to support their racer by logging into a bunch of Republic Tunes and trying to ambush the other racers. I wouldn't be able to enforce it. But I will say that to kind of make up for it, I'm not disallowing any Imperial Tunes to run alongside the racers. They can run alongside them. They can even run ahead of them if they'd like. However, they just cannot join the racers ops group. They would be in a group by themselves. They would not be able to have the same effect on the racers. So this tunnel I could see being a good ambush point, because all the racers will have to come through there. As well, I imagine a lot of racers will be using this right here. I could see this being a good point for any Republic Tunes to post themselves and try to blast their racers off, and then slowing them up substantially. Again, another good point that could serve as a good ambush point. I could see potentially a little bit of a fight going on through here. And not to mention that it comes out into a heroic area, which means that Republic Tunes could potentially get there very fast. Now, a few other things that I will say a guild could potentially do to support the racer to make them go faster is that if you look through all the guild perks that can be purchased using a flagship, there are some that have to do with mount improvements. So, for example, this one, Mount Improvements 2, increases mounted speed by 15%. There's another one over here, I believe. It would be Mount Improvements 10%. If you get your guild to use all of those, that is completely fine. If it's too late, well, we are planning on trying to have future events, probably once every 2 months, so that it's periodic enough for it to be a routine, but not so much that it gets overblown or just too exhausted. Now again, this area, it's not as good of an ambush point or anything like what the tunnels were, but it is still confined, and so I could see there potentially being, it's not nearly as good of an ambush point. I think the main thing that would gain racers any sort of advantage through here would be just avoiding the mobs. A few things that I will while we're in this kind of more calm area, I will explain a little bit about the rules for those that have not visited the Discord. So racers have a very minimal set of rules. The main thing is that they have to be using either a mount or their own feet to be doing the traveling. They cannot be doing like a quick travel or a heroic transport or using any sort of guild ship summons. They're not allowed to do that. If they do that, or if they use a taxi or something like that, I will remove them from the ops group. They will be automatically disqualified. Now, as far as the only other rule will be that they have to stay in the PvP instance. If they switch instances, I will again remove them from the ops group and they will be disqualified. Now this area, I could see a lot of people taking a lot of different routes. The main thing to make it quick, I would say just be checking your map regularly, seeing where you're at, avoiding mobs. One thing to keep in mind is that if you do hit a mob, it will slow up everyone in the ops group, so it's not all lost if you draw a mob. The main thing would be to try to get away from them as quick as you can and then outmaneuver the other racers as you're going through. Some of the things that racers can do individually to raise their speed are, of course, the character perks unlock from their legacy. So if you go to these character perks here, you can go down. The speeder, you don't have to have any of these unlocked to participate, but I will say that this may give you an advantage to pay to get all the way to speeder unlock 5. Now, coming up, there is one last area I could see coming into play for PvP, and that would be right up here. You see this outpost here. It is a Republic outpost. And so racers will probably want to stay as close as they can, but they may need to at some point take a wide berth of this area, because if you're too close, if there are any tunes that are Republic and are aiming to try to kill the other racers, then that would be a good point for them to do so, and a good last minute chance to sway the race in the favor of their racer. One thing I think I may have neglected to mention earlier is that if any racer for any reason dies, whether it's from falling or from getting killed by a mob or being killed by a hostile Republic tune, they are disqualified from the race, because that would allow them to respawn at another location, and it could present an unfair advantage. So now we're getting pretty close to the Shrine of Healing, where we will be forced to dismount. The reason I included this part of the race is, for one, this right here I have this as the finish line in case there's a close race for first place. That way I could see who was the owner of the instance and thus determine who won the race if it were to be close. And then the other component is that it would allow racers to have some sway on each other. As they will all be in the same ops group, there are some abilities that they can use on each other, which would include things such as the switch places abilities or jump to abilities, or this rocket boost unlock, which you can get through your legacy under other. So it would be right here underneath other, and you would go, and it would be these rocket boosts that you could unlock. You could also do pools and other things that may switch the placement of another racer or yourself. You can use boosts, whatever, as long as it's not a heroic transport or the quick travel or resulting in your own death, you can do it. And so here is the finish line. Once you cross it, you're done with the race. If there are additional heats, we will run the same course. I will be honest, I'm thinking about either running, if there is a final race, I have considered, but not yet finalized the option of perhaps running it backwards, or so that there would be some variation in how each one was taking place. Alright, I think that is all for this video. I will be trying to post another video that explains a bit more about the betting. Feel free to refer any of your guildmates, friends, or acquaintances to this video so that they have information on this race and on this event. Thank you very much, and until next time, bye.